Hey guys. I'm at a nearby small park. You can hear lots of traffic in the background. Just trying to do a little test of this gimbal. Trying to do something for the channel because I've been under the weather for a few days and feeling a little behind. At the same time, I'm a little apprehensive about losing my footing here with this brand new gimbal. I don't want to break the thing. I also just needed to get out of the house for a few minutes and get some fresh air in my lungs. You know how you get a little stir crazy after a while. This probably isn't the best test because I'm going to be stumbling around a little bit, but surely it'll be smoother than if I was just holding this thing by hand. It's in the 40s here, which is finally warm enough that it doesn't just kill the cell phone's battery in 5 minutes, which is what happened the first time I tried to do this test. Watch my footing on the uphill here. There's a few faint mountain bike tracks in the snow here. You'll hear me sniffling in the background as well, because it's been a really entertaining few days, I'll tell you that. A little bit of ice on the stream here. Hard to judge the gimbal too early because part of this is still technique. I can't just stomp through the woods like Godzilla and expect the gimbal to erase all of that movement. Not bad. See if I can get through here without crashing. These are trail shoes, but they don't have spikes on them like my orienteering shoes do. I guess if the gimbal helps make me look like I'm doing anything other than stumbling around hopelessly out here. It's probably doing a good job. Kind of bleak on a day like today. Lots of grays and browns and whites. Looks like the battery's not being bothered by the cold today, which is good. Hope you've all been doing well, friends. I apologize that I've kind of fallen off my schedule here. Between work and illness, it kind of threw me a few curveballs. Look at this tree. I would say this kind of a tree has a lot of character. This is a tree who has seen some things. I kind of like that I can, if I'm hiking through some sticks or some brush, I can kind of shove the gimbal through a hole or an opening that's in front of me before I try to get my whole body through it. I'm probably not doing a great job operating this thing, but this is all about practice. It's all about learning. It's all about trying to make sure that my best job today is better than my best job yesterday. I don't know that I always succeed at that, but that's the goal. junk drawer is a perfect place to stick test footage until I feel I've got the hang of this enough to use it for real content. There's a bit of frozen stream down there. I am mostly using a mode with this gimbal called pan following mode, which means I turn the handle left and right to make the gimbal pan the phone left and right. And then when I want to go up and down, I use the little joystick on the handle for that. Gimbal has 3 modes, 3 control modes. You can hear some fellow park users in the distance. You can still hear the traffic, but it's getting progressively lower in volume as we walk to the west, away from the road. I assume you can hear my footsteps on the snow. I wonder how many of you seeing this are in parts of the world where you never get snow. I was thinking about that the other day, how we all are, programmed by our surroundings and our upbringing to, consider certain settings normal, certain things that we're used to, because that's all we've ever seen or been exposed to. I work with a guy who recently moved to this part of the country from a part of the country that never gets snow. And he has young kids. And this winter here, it's the first time his kids have seen snow. They said they absolutely loved it. Wanted to go sledding in like single degree temperatures, freezing their faces off. They loved every minute of it. I try to imagine what that must be like to experience something like snow for the very first time as a child or even as an adult. What would that be like? I try to think of things that I didn't see until I became an adult and could travel a little bit farther afield. Like the first time I saw an ocean or a huge stone arch or a great lake. Maybe it's something like that. I think it's valuable to always have something out in front of you that you haven't done yet. Always something that you're still looking forward to witnessing or accomplishing or understanding for the first time, or something that we want to understand better or experience more fully. I think that's the stuff of life, really. If a person thinks he's seen everything he's going to see and has done everything he's going to do, my goodness. Okay, those last 30 seconds have got to be some of the worst gimbal handling ever recorded. Sorry about that. No, what I mean, to term it as a bucket list is a little bit cliche, and it makes the events or the experiences a little too compartmentalized, a little too specific. But my point is, if you don't have anything on that list, and I'm not talking about pie in the sky fantasy type stuff, I'm talking about stuff that you can still go out and achieve if you prioritize it highly enough. If you're living every day and you don't have anything that's left on the list to go do or see or share or experience, I don't know. I don't know about that. I still want to see redwoods and sequoias. I want to take my kids to see redwoods and sequoias before they get... Hey, bless you. It won't be too many more years before they're out of the house and starting to make their own adventures and their own memories. I would like to see a redwood forest, hike a redwood forest with them for the first time somehow before they leave. I think that would be amazing. I love seeing things for the first time with them. I mean, I like introducing them to things that I've done as well, things that I've already seen, and I know the things are amazing and I want to show them too. That's really cool, but there's really something about making a discovery together as a family for the first time. This picnic table was not here the last time I was on this little trail. Might have been moved here by floodwaters. The Red River Gorge is a good example of that. We didn't start going down there in the falls until 4 or 5 years ago, so all of the things we found down there, we found together for the first time. It was amazing. That was a pretty deep crouch. I grew up on that property that had a couple of acres of woods on it, so I've been climbing through trees for as long as I can remember. Kind of makes me feel, well, doesn't make me feel young, but reminds me of those days. Reminds me of home. Well, I think this is doing all right. I need to get much better at it, but that will come in time. I'm gonna put it in a mode where I lock all the axes, and then I'm gonna walk down this trail. We'll see how stable it is, okay? Here we go. Maybe I should have been using this mode a little more often. Anytime I have to climb over something, we're taking a chance here. I hope the phone's picking up my voice okay. I'm out here rambling. I don't know if you can even hear me over the ambient noises or my breathing. I clearly have not gotten outdoors as much of this winter as I need to. This obviously isn't deep woods or anything like that. This is a very small urban park. This strip of trees along this stream has got a few big ones, but it's choked off with a lot of honeysuckle. Let's see, there's a nice one. It's a big tree. I've got my white balance and my exposure and focus all free floating right now, and I'm not paying a great deal of attention to whether they're following everything well, so hopefully this is not a complete disaster. It's a close-up of that bark from the big tree. Let's see if we can use the joystick to bring it on up as it backs the exposure down. He's been here a long time. I think it's getting a little quieter now. We're getting into a section of the trees where they've also installed a disc golf course. So we will see one of the disc golf holes, with the baskets coming up in the distance here. Let's see, let me switch modes again. This is one of the cement pads that you throw from. And there's one of the I thought I heard some chain links rustling in the distance. I wonder if these voices we're hearing are people on the course. I will try to keep the camera averted. They thinned out these trees a little bit when they installed the course, which I lamented a little bit, and you can tell through here that it's not as dense as the first part of the hike. But if it brings more users to the park, and if the little strip of trees is not really that great an example of hiking woods in the first place, I suppose I can't complain too much. I'm no land manager, so here we come to a paved walkway. This bridge goes over the stream that we've been walking beside this whole time. This is I always like to study this a little bit. You can see the big dent in this top railing, and we look down to see this big tree that fell down in a storm a few years ago. Fell down and hit the bridge right there. You see that squirrel off to the left? And then this little path leads to a neighborhood in the distance, and it used to lead to a kind of an observation platform that went out into the middle of this pond. But they built it out of that pressed plastic particle fake wood type stuff that you see parks and municipalities using all the time. And the stuff warps like crazy after a few seasons, and the whole thing just kind of got weird and unstable, and it looks like they took the whole thing down. Anyway, I like those low angles. Anyway, this probably ceased being a gimbal test a while ago, and now it's just a excuse to ramble to you guys for a few minutes. But I see the disc golfers in the distance, and I don't want to cross paths with them, so maybe this would be a good time to wrap it up. If any of you out there are amateur videographers and are experienced with handheld gimbals, either with phones or DSLRs, on the one hand, please don't be too harsh with me on this video, because I'm just kind of winging this for the first time. But if you have any tips, techniques on working with the gimbal to help it do its job, I am all ears. If you've been with the channel for a while, you know that I'm looking to take this gimbal out to ponds and covered bridges and country roads at sunset, shooting silhouettes of farm buildings as fence posts fly by from a moving car. Things that I can shoot to try to capture those places that kind of evoke my imagination, that represent the things I'm surrounded by now, that I can use as jumping off points for rambles about the secrets that those places keep. The little discoveries that you make when you scratch just below the surface, if you know just the right place to look. Anyway, thanks for rummaging around in the junk drawer a little more. Thanks for putting up with my sniffles. I hope to be back to the regular videos very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.